How's it going, YouTube? So today I really didn't have anything to film, so what I wanted to do was give a little walk around of my other car. You guys have been seeing a lot on the 1UZ 240, but what I'm going to do today is just do a little walk around on my SR20 swapped 300ZX. Basically, it's all taken apart right now. I'm just going to tell you guys like what my plans are for it, and some of the parts I have and everything. So I had it running over this summer, and it was just a stock SR on wastegate pressure. I put a manual boost controller in it and turned it up to about 12 pounds, and that was pretty fun, but it wasn't quite enough power for me. The engine was running great and everything was working right. I kept battling a few coolant leaks and power steering leaks, but those were really the only major issues I had. So what I'm going to be doing today is just showing you guys around it a little bit. I'm still in my cramped garage, so I don't have a whole lot of space, but I'm going to do the best I can. So here it is. And sorry if the lighting's not the best, but so basically it's just the stock, the USDM bumper. The fenders they're set on there, but they're just pulled off right now because the engine bay is actually getting painted. Let me put down, see if I can put the hood up with one hand. Alrighty, so here we go. This isn't the best case, but it's some kind of light. So basically with the stock setup, I had the stock intake manifold on it, stock T25 turbo. It's a red top, and I just modified the engine harness a little bit and used some of the Z32 plugs. It's basically just 3 plugs that you have to rewire. I made my own engine mounts. I notched out the cross member, and Chris, because we didn't have a TIG welder back then, Chris actually welded all my intercooler piping and my downpipe at school because he was in a welding class then. But so it doesn't really have much in it right now. It's taken apart because I still need to pull the motor. I'm going to pull it apart and put a different head gasket and actually stud it, and going for more power next year. So basically my setup at first, I just had the Circuit Sports oil filter relocation kit and custom intercooler piping, custom downpipe, this little Turbo Smart Boost T. I don't know how well you can see that. The sketchiest thing about this build at first was that the fuel lines, I didn't run them to the other side. Most people that do this swap actually just unbolt the hard lines and bolt them on to the other side because it actually works with minor modifications and bending the fuel lines a little bit. But basically what I did is just run some fuel lines over the exhaust manifold, and that was a little sketchy to me. You can see I have a little license plate in there, and that was basically my heat shield from my turbo to the fuel lines, which I didn't really like very much, but it still worked all right. And I had this water neck that I used. Let me see if I can kind of free up some space down here. Yeah, so this water neck that I used is, I think it was actually an S13 water neck. I tapped it out for an AN fitting, and that's where my coolant line is running. And you can see maybe that the coolant line is kind of bent. I didn't really like that too much either, and I was battling a couple power steering leaks from the pump. So but those are my only major issues, other than some coolant leaks from under the intake manifold, and basically just hose clamps weren't on tight enough and stuff because I forgot to do that while I was putting it all together. So I was just running a front mount up here from an intercooler. It's not in here right now. It's actually under the car in the back. But it was a Blitz front mount, custom intercooler piping, custom downpipe, and the stock SR20 62 ECU for the red top, and that was pretty much it. I mean, it was totally stock, but it was still pretty fun. So what I'm doing over the winter is you can see I pulled the front engine harness out, which is, I guess, part of the chassis harness. and I pulled all the airbag wiring out already, so it's getting a full SRS delete. Well, I guess I already did that. And the chassis harness I am redoing, kind of like a wiring specialties style with the actual wire mesh wrap, and that is all going behind the dash so that I can free up a lot of space in here and make this look cleaner. The bay is getting painted silver over the winter, and I think that's going to look really good. And all of my accessories and everything are actually going to be powder coated like a midnight purple kind of a color. And I've got this Freddy intake manifold. I found it for like 80 bucks on Zilvia, so pretty good deal. And that fuel rail and those injectors, that's just a no-name top mount fuel rail with some 1000cc injectors, so more power. I've got 256 cams for it, and I'm probably going to put a Tomei head gasket on it and some ARP studs for the head. I'm not going to mess with the bottom end yet because it's running fine. There's no rod knock or anything. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty clean Z32. It doesn't really look clean right now because it's been sitting in here for a while, just kind of pulled apart. But as you can see, the dash is out. I pulled all of the HVAC stuff out. The dash is actually up there, just kind of hanging. But I pulled all the HVAC stuff out just to free up a little bit more weight and a little bit more room, because it does feel like a little bit of a heavy car with the SR in it. The SR doesn't make a lot of torque off boost, so I did have a little bit of issues with that, but nothing major. It still drove really well, and I'm probably going to put some seats in it, but I'm not sure about that yet. Right now I'm really just focusing on the engine, so it'll be running a Haltech Platinum Sport 1000 with a full flex fuel kit. And what I'm going to do with the fuel lines this time is actually just run stainless braided AN lines all the way from the tank up on the passenger side frame rail, because my fuel rail is already threaded for AN fittings and everything, so then I can just run those and not have to worry. Have a Tomei fuel pressure regulator for it, and I just basically need to get a few more parts and free up some space in the garage. Once I get the 1UZ240 running, then I'll have my engine stand back and I can pull the SR out and get it back up on the stand. For the transmission, I just use the stock Z32 transmission. It's on an adapter plate, the Mazworks adapter plate from the Z32 trans to the SR20. Works really well, and that allowed me to keep everything stock from the bell housing back, basically. So it has stock drive shaft, stock trans, and I used an SR20, a spec stage 3 clutch, which came with my motor actually, so I figured why not use it. And yeah, so I mean, I'm going to be doing a few things differently. I'll probably post up some pictures in this video of how it was before when it was running, because it really doesn't look like it was ever running right now. But it was, the intercooler was mounted upright, and so I basically just had the piping going under that frame rail. But probably what I'm going to do this time is actually notch out that top part of the frame rail. You can kind of see that in there, and run the intercooler just straight into the intake manifold, so that will reduce the length of my piping, which will help with response a little bit. And it's going to be running speed density instead of MAF this time, and full standalone, so I'll actually be able to tune it and get it to run perfectly, rather than just hoping that the stock ECU works, because I was having a little bit of idling issues where it was idling really high all the time and I could never really figure it out. But yeah, I mean, that's the basic setup. I'm probably going to be running a 2871R turbo if I can find one for a relatively decent price. If not, I'll try to find one on Craigslist and just make a manifold for it. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it so far. I was just running the stock Z32 wheels. It's on Tokiko struts and some lowering springs. And that's how I bought it. I need to get coils for it, and I have some nice wheels to put on it. I will keep those a surprise though. when I get this thing running again, I'll kind of do like a feature video of everything running and working and together, and that is when I will reveal the full build, because I can talk all I want, but results, results make people happy, not just sitting here and talking and pointing to different things in the engine bay with a light. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the basics of what I'm going to be doing to it, and I guess stay tuned. The battery is going to be moved to the back just to kind of balance the weight out a little bit more, get some more weight over the back wheels. And I'm going to be removing ABS. Some people would probably think that's pretty stupid, but it's really just going to be a street car, and I'm never going to drive it in the winter. Less street car, more of like a show car, to just kind of advertise for my business and take to meets and break some necks. So I mean, that's pretty much the basics of the build. It's really torn apart right now, and there's stuff laying all over it, but it will be up and running soon enough, hopefully within the next few months. It depends on if I start making some decent money or not. So I guess, time will tell on how fast this thing gets running again, but I do really miss it. I really miss driving it. I will put in a couple clips of me driving it from my one of my good friends who also has a YouTube channel. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Just paint and more power and wiring tuck and stuff like that. I'm going to redo the whole engine harness in that same wire wrap too, just so I can make it look really clean and nice and tucked. And yeah, that'll be pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching. Like I said, I really just didn't have anything to do today, so I wanted to give you guys just kind of a little, I guess, kind of a walk around. I pretty much just showed the engine bay, but of my other car, because this is like my pride and joy. The 1UZ240 is just basically going to be a missile, so that I can kind of get into drifting and competition and stuff like that. But this is like my pride and joy. It's my baby, and I put a lot of work into this over the past, it's been like about a year now actually since I bought it, and about 8 months since I got it running with the SR swap. And I didn't really drive it much because I was really scared of the fuel lines. I'm a really paranoid person with that. Didn't want the car to catch on fire, but it'll be a lot better, a lot more drivable, I guess, this year, and I won't have to worry as much about that. So yeah, I mean, stay tuned for future videos if you guys like stuff like that. And the S13 1UZ swap, those are both pretty cool builds in my opinion. And we've also got Chris's, both of his cars. We've got the Evo, which that's just going to be his daily. We're not really going to be doing many modifications to that. But we've also got his S14, which has a fully built SR20 in it now, and a ton of money into it, and that's going to be really cool. Crazy power levels when it's running. So, I guess stay tuned for all that stuff if you guys like seeing crazy builds and wicked stuff, and actually builds done right, because not enough people do builds right, and that's what we've always been about, is doing it the right way to where there aren't going to be any unforeseen issues and stuff like that. And if you guys are interested in either of these swaps, you can feel free to leave a comment below, and ask for some advice or anything. I would be more than happy to help anybody, especially who wants to do one of these swaps, because they're really uncommon in the scheme of things. There's probably only a few hundred people that have done it in the world, and there's probably 60 or 70 that have done it in the country. Currently, as far as I know, this is the only one in Colorado. If any of you guys live in Colorado and you are in the process of this swap, or you have one, let me know, because if you've got any questions, feel free to ask me. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you could like, comment, subscribe. I'm kind of trying to grow the channel a little bit. I love to help car people out, and I love to make cool content. It's just really interesting to me. I've always, watched YouTube videos of all the channels that I grew up liking, and I finally decided that I was going to start doing it. So hope you guys like my videos. If you've got any suggestions or anything, let me know. I know my camera holding quality isn't the best, and maybe my editing isn't the best, and my voice is kind of monotone. I'm aware of all those things, but yeah, feel free to leave any suggestions or anything down in the comments. So thank you guys. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you would. It would mean the world to me, and thank you very much.